Hello everyone. Today we're going to have a very interesting story to help you improve your English. I'll speak slowly, clearly, and pause after each sentence for you to practice. Please follow along with the text on the screen and pause the video to practice or rewatch multiple times to progress faster. Lila, an Australian student, overcomes her accent insecurities to master English on a thrilling U.S. adventure. From New York to the Grand Canyon, every conversation is a step forward. Read her inspiring journey to see how she turns language into a bridge of connection. Lila was a 20-year-old university student from Sydney, Australia. She had grown up speaking English, but her accent was thick, and she often felt self-conscious about it. In Australia, her friends understood her perfectly, but she dreamed of traveling the world, and she knew her English needed to be more polished to communicate confidently with people from other countries. When she won a scholarship for a summer trip to the United States, she saw it as the perfect opportunity to improve her English while exploring famous landmarks. Little did she know, this journey would transform her perspective on language, confidence, and connection. Lila's adventure began in New York City. As her plane descended into JFK Airport, she gazed out at the glittering skyline, her heart racing with excitement. The Statue of Liberty stood tall in the distance, a symbol of freedom and new beginnings. But as soon as she stepped off the plane, reality hit. The airport was a whirlwind of accents: American, British, Indian, and more. When she asked a security officer for directions, he barely understood her. "Sorry, miss, can you repeat that?" he said, squinting. Her cheeks flushed as she tried again, slowing her words. She realized her Australian slang and quick speech weren't as clear as she'd thought. Determined to improve, Lila made a pact with herself. She would speak to at least 5 strangers every day, no matter how nervous she felt. Her first stop was Times Square. The neon lights and bustling crowds overwhelmed her, but she approached a hot dog vendor. "Can I get a hot dog, please?" she asked, enunciating carefully. The vendor, a cheerful man with a thick New York accent, grinned. "Sure thing, Aussie. Where you from?" Lila hesitated, then told him about Sydney. To her surprise, he was curious, asking about kangaroos and beaches. Their chat was short, but it gave her a spark of confidence. She realized people didn't care about her accent. They just wanted to connect. Next, Lila visited the Grand Canyon. The vast, red rock landscape took her breath away. At a lookout point, she overheard a group of American tourists debating the canyon's history. Wanting to join in, she took a deep breath and said, "I read it was formed millions of years ago by the Colorado River. Is that right?" Her voice trembled, but the group welcomed her input. One woman, a teacher from Arizona, explained more about the canyon's geology. Lila stumbled over her words a few times, but the group was patient. They even complimented her accent, saying it sounded cool. For the first time, Lila felt her accent might be a strength, not a flaw. In San Francisco, Lila faced a bigger challenge. She joined a guided tour of Alcatraz Island, the infamous former prison. The tour guide spoke quickly, using words like incarceration and penitentiary that Lila wasn't familiar with. She felt lost but didn't want to stay silent. After the tour, she approached the guide and admitted, "I'm trying to improve my English. Can you explain what penitentiary means?" The guide smiled warmly and explained it was another word for prison. He also gave her a tip. Keep a notebook for new words. Write them down, use them, and they'll stick. Lila bought a small notebook that day and began jotting down every new word she heard. From mesmerizing at Yosemite National Park to bustling in Los Angeles. By the time Lila reached Washington, D.C., her confidence had grown. At the Lincoln Memorial, she struck up a conversation with a family from Texas. They were amazed by her stories of surfing in Bondi Beach and asked her to teach them Australian slang. Lila laughed as she explained mate and Barbie. In return, they taught her American phrases like y'all and awesome. She realized language wasn't just about being perfect. It was about sharing cultures and building bridges. Lila's final stop was Boston, where she walked the Freedom Trail and visited Harvard University. At a cafe near Harvard, she overheard students debating literature. Feeling bold, she joined them, sharing her thoughts on a book she'd read in school. Her accent stood out, but the students were intrigued, asking her to compare Australian and American education. Lila spoke passionately, using new words from her notebook. When one student said, "You're so articulate," Lila beamed. She wasn't perfect, but she was communicating, connecting, and learning. As Lila boarded her flight back to Sydney, she flipped through her notebook, now filled with words, phrases, and memories. She thought about the people she'd met, the vendor in New York, the teacher at the Grand Canyon, the family in D.C. Each conversation had been a step forward, not because she spoke flawlessly, but because she spoke bravely. Her accent was still there, but it no longer felt like a barrier. It was part of who she was, a unique thread in the tapestry of English speakers worldwide. Lila's journey taught her that learning a language isn't about erasing your roots or sounding like someone else. It's about embracing your voice, taking risks, and finding joy in every connection. When she returned to university, she signed up for an English conversation club, eager to keep improving. She also started a blog to share her story, hoping to inspire others to take their own language journeys. "Don't be afraid to speak," she wrote. "Every word you say is a step toward a bigger world." For anyone starting to learn English, Lila's story is a reminder. Progress comes from practice, not perfection. Whether you're exploring famous landmarks or chatting at a local cafe, every conversation is a chance to grow. So speak up, stumble, laugh, and keep going. The world is waiting to hear your voice. Lila's story, an Australian student mastering English through a US adventure, is truly inspiring. What do you think of her journey overcoming insecurities and connecting cultures? Share your thoughts, language learning experiences, and let's discuss. Your feedback means a lot and shapes the stories we bring next.